So if you get drafted to play Steelers for the linebacker, I mean, just playing defense on the Steelers with all their history, right? It's like there's big shoes to fill no matter what. But to be drafted the same year as Devin, right? Where they obviously are looking to improve the linebacker position. How is that vibe where you have this guy that's also your age that like they really want him, they got him in the first round, and then they take you later in that draft, and not that you guys are the same guy or you play exactly the same position, but did it make it easier or harder on you
Mhm.
just knowing that there's someone with you the same age, same position, basically, that that's going to be heading to Pittsburgh?
I mean, honestly, it made it easier because he's a great guy. We're actually pretty close, and also we talked a lot. We became like just good friends over time. So I think it became easier because at the end of the day, like you said, we do play different positions, but we also help each other as well. And he got to play a lot last year. Did an amazing job. He's actually one of the best, in my opinion, ever seen play linebacker position. So hats off to him. But at the end of the day, like it's kind of crazy because when they drafted him, I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna get drafted by the Steelers because they got a linebacker. But then when they drafted me, I was just like, well, dang, it must be a reason for it. So I'm just thankful that I should be on the Steelers because it was my childhood team growing up. So
Oh, it's
just a
great.
blessing to be on this defense and just be a part of those type of guys like Vince Williams, T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, Joe Hayden. I mean, the list goes on. And also for history presences, it just goes on and on and on. But at the end of the day, it's just really like a brotherhood. We help each other out. There's no type of anything like no jealousy, no anything like that. So to me, it's just been easier. It's just been a good ride so far. So
That's great. Culture is just such a big part of feeling good about what you're doing, and you're in a good spot. And so that being
yeah.
said, who's like the one or maybe two teammates that really kind of took you under their wing and really helped you kind of become a professional?
Really, it was like Vince Williams, Ryan Shazier, and Mark Barron. Those are kind of like the veterans of the linebacker room at the time. They all had their different ways of taking me under their wing, and I can't appreciate them much enough because, like, for me, being a sixth rounder, you kind of have those things in your mind, like you're a sixth round, not as early. They might not think of you as much, but it wasn't at like that at all. They kind of just when they came in there, it's time to work and to help the young guys get better because they're great guys in the sense of knowing, like Vince Williams knows, like he's at the peak of his career, but at the same time, he's on his way out. So he just wants to see the younger generation be good. And that's what he does with me and Dev, man. He just constantly teaches different things that he learned over the year. Always checks on us, calls us, make sure we're all right. Same way as Shazier and Mark. They all had their different ways of thinking of the game, and it was just cool to pick their brains, man. And like for me and Vince, we were both drafted 6th round, so we had more in common because he had to be a 6th round player and really make his mark on the Steelers defense and make his way as one of the best defense and linebackers of the Steelers history, in my opinion. So he always talks to me and be like, "Man, you 6th round just like me. You could do it. Look where I'm at." So it definitely feels good to have that type of positivity and that type of reassurance around you, knowing that somebody that got drafted late is also at the top of their career and knowing that you could get there as well.
Yeah, that's so big. Seeing that someone in a similar situation made it, it's sort of like, yeah, I can do this. He did it. I can definitely do it. I'm not the first one. It
Exactly.
can be done.
Exactly.
So obviously the Steelers, right? You're only there the time that you're there. So did you feel
Mhm.
anything different about that team? Only because like literally a month or two before you get drafted, Antonio Brown goes out, Le'Veon Bell goes out. Like the team, not that they're in flux because it's such a stable organization, but they're going to
Mhm.
look a lot different. Did you feel any sort of angst about this team when you got there about trying to re-identify themselves, or was would was there a feeling like, no, these guys were never even here? Not a
It's
thing.
almost like they wasn't even there. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Honestly, with everything going on and coming in, they just had that mindset of just move forward. Use the guys we have and let's win. Let's go get 7. And that's what the same mindset as soon as I walked in the door. It wasn't no like, oh man, we lost this person. Oh man, we lost this person. It's just like next guy up. That's one thing Coach T always said, next guy up. And that's so big in that organization because it just shows that, like, if somebody get injured or somebody leaves, next guy up, you better know what you're doing, show me what you could do, and if I can trust you, you're going to play. And I think it's just a dope thing because at the end of the day, it just lets you know that you have a chance and that he doesn't mind if you're a first rounder or a free agent. If you know what you're doing, if you could play football, he's going to give you a chance. And I'm really just thankful for him to give me this opportunity to draft me and to see something in me because he does have a lot of guys from the MAC. Because even AB, he was from the MAC in sixth round,
Yeah.
I think fifth or sixth rounder from Central Michigan. So you see a lot of guys just around that area that come from lower draft rounds or just free agents making their way to be one of the best deals ever. So just to be in that type of environment to know that everybody has a chance as long as you do what you need to do is just an amazing feeling.
And I mean, from such an outsider like myself, Tomlin seems like he's pretty cool and can keep it together. As a coach, can you just, as a player, can you talk about his coaching style? Just in the 1 year you've been around him, what is it about how he does his job that makes him so successful? If you can put your finger on anything.
To me, the biggest thing what I've learned for myself is he try to make you uncomfortable. He try to make you uncomfortable in the most nicest way possible because he just feels like when you're comfortable or do something uncomfortable, you become comfortable in those situations. So there was a lot of times at camp because I wasn't big on blitzing. I was always good in coverage. So he'll always make me do backs and backers and have me go and go and go and go. And then I'll mess up, but won't have a good rep, But he never like gave up on me. He just always just like, come on, come on. And then he had Czier put me to the side and just like Czier, he kind of like you in the way he moves. So just talk to him a little bit to see if he could get any pinpoints. So when Czier talked to me and told me just one thing to do, and he was like, come back up and do it again, and I won like most of my reps after that, it just made me feel good because it's almost like he just watching you. He wants you to be the best you, but he also knows where you're lack at, but he's going to expose them, but also make them positives in the end. And that was the biggest thing, man. He just always straightforward, always honest, and just going to give you a chance. Like I said, there's always next man up. There's always, if you know what you're doing, and he's not going to give up on you. I truly feel like when the Steelers draft you, they draft you for a reason. They draft you because they like you. They just don't draft you to this for a number game. And another good thing I love about Coach T and the whole organization is that they truly care about you and they get to know you. Walking around there, you have Mr. Rooney saying, hey, Ulysees, and it's kind of crazy because, I mean, he's the owner of the team and he knows your name even when you're drafted late. And then Coach T the same way and every other coach. So it's really just like you really just feel the caringness of that organization and just the way of everybody talks about it is really second to none.
That's awesome. So I didn't realize that Ryan Shazier was still so involved. I mean, you've
Yeah.
mentioned him a couple times now. So uh, before he had his injury, I mean, he was at the top of the game in the NFL. So
Yeah.
he's really around helping, younger linebackers like yourself out.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy because he was my favorite linebacker going in,
Oh yeah.
really.
I mean, he's a
I
stud.
mean, yeah, he was a stud. I mean, I loved watching him play. I feel like we had like the similar play style, just like fast and stuff like that. But he was around a lot, always in the meeting rooms, always just around. Even at camp, he stayed. It was just a dope experience just to have somebody like him around, and just for kind of like where he came from and what he's doing, and him be able to walk and just his perseverance through his downfalls. Man, it's just amazing to have that type of guy around, and just to bring him under the wing and actually talk to you, and actually care to talk to you, and want you to be great. You just never know what type of injuries that could do to people because he could have been a complete negative person, could have been sorry for everything else, but no, I mean, God just has a great person in him, and he just decides like, okay, this is my situation. I'm gonna make the best out of it, but also whoever comes up, I'm gonna make you the best too. I want you to see greatness as well, and that's how it's off to him just to have that type of mindset and that's have that type of care for the young guys coming in, even when he was at the pinnacle of his career and just killing the game, he just also want to see the other next people kill the game as well. So it's just a dope experience having him in the room, hearing him talk, how he dissect the offense, just the way he know the defense still, and just the way he care about